Hey sellers, has your house been sitting for a while? Are you worried that it's overpriced? Here's one really good way to try to find out. Hey guys, Erica Galinas here, and this week we're going to talk to sellers about, maybe their house is overpriced, they're not sure what's going on. One really good way to kind of reverse engineer the process and find out for sure. There are some obvious things that happen that make you think, maybe you've priced yourself a little bit too high for the market. It's things like there are no showings, that showing feedback says that it's overpriced, that there's lots of showings but there are no offers and the feedback says things like, yes, it's overpriced. So obviously those kinds of things are going to be like, maybe I'm a little overpriced. What happens sometimes with sellers though is that when you show them comparable sales, they look at, and rightly so, well, hey, I put in a new furnace. Hey, I updated a bathroom. Hey, my place is right across the street from the pond. It should be worth more than what these other comps are showing us. So they pick a higher price, you put it in the MLS, and then that happens. There's no showings, there's no offers, there's feedback saying that it's too expensive. I've had these kind of conversations with sellers, quite often. It's tricky sometimes for a seller to know how to price their house because obviously they're not real estate agents, they don't have access to all this data, and sometimes their agents don't necessarily present them with a full picture of what the comparables are. If you have an agent like that, please fire them right away. They should be explaining exactly why your house should be priced the way it is. But if you do have an agent that gave you that information and you made some judgments based on some updates or location or something like that that's unique about your house, ask your agent for a different set of numbers. What you're looking for your agent to give you now is houses that are for sale. Doesn't matter if they're comparable to yours or not, but they are for sale in the same price range where you have listed your house. So I'll make up some numbers. Let's say that your agent said that your house was worth $350,000 based on these comparable sales. And you say, well, I have a new furnace and the roof is only 3 years old. Plus, I'm right by this school, so I want to price it at $400,000. Pricing things can be tricky for everybody, for the seller, for your agent, even for appraisers. It's really more of an art than a science. So it makes sense that you may think that your extras, whether it's upgrades or location, whatever it is, those extras might be worth more than these 2 or 3 comparable sales that the agent has given you. So you list it, you're on the market for 2 or 3 weeks, nothing has happened. There's been, maybe 2 or 3 showings. Some of the agents didn't give feedback. One feedback just says layout doesn't work for buyer or something that doesn't help you at all. And now you're thinking, well, am I too high? I don't know. How can I tell? Have your agent print out current active listings in your area that are priced at your price range. Doesn't necessarily matter if they're comparable, the same number of bedrooms, square footage, location, as long as you're within the, same kind of school district or the same kind of neighborhood. Have your agent bring you listings that are listed in that same price range that you are at. Looking at these will give you a really good idea of whether or not you're overpriced. So what are you looking for? As I said, it doesn't really matter if they're comparable properties to yours. When I meet with a seller to kind of price their home, I pull houses, with the same amount of bedrooms, obviously a condo versus a single family home, all the little things that go in there. For this number, you're not looking for that because what you are looking for is the differences between your listing price, what the comparable prices are, and what your competition is doing. In that case, you absolutely don't need to care how many bedrooms there are because you're going to get a stack of, 5 to 10 properties, depending on how busy your market is, at that $400,000 price range we made up. And you're going to go through them to see how many bedrooms do they have? What kind of updating do they have? What year were they built? What kind of location there is? You are trying to construct a picture of what a buyer has to choose from at a $400,000 level and to see if your house actually meets that criteria or if a buyer is going to go look at one of these houses that is better in some way. One of the big ones, location, location, location. Obviously, these are going to be things that you can't control, nobody can control. So, if you are in a neighborhood that has a lake and the houses in the neighborhood are selling for an average of $480,000, if you drill down on those ones that are at $400,000 where you are, you're going to find out maybe they're right by the lake or right across the street from the lake where your house is in the back of the neighborhood and you have to take a golf cart to get to the lake. In that case, your house isn't worth $400,000 to a buyer because they will just go buy this other one that has better lake access. A second thing to look at is the condition of the house. So obviously, houses, if it's more than, 10 years old, things are going to be in different conditions. Some people have updated, some people haven't. Some houses are 80 years old and look brand new. Some houses are 10 years old and look like they're 10 years old. You want to look at the condition of your house in an honest way compared to what buyers can buy in the price range you're in. You need to look at the big ones. Bathroom updating, new paint and trim. Kitchen updating is a big one. If your house doesn't have as updated of a kitchen, as updated of a bathroom, new paint, maybe hardwood floors versus carpeting, again, there's no buyer in the world that's going to pick your house, all other things being equal, if this one is more updated and is the same price. When you're looking at two houses side by side like that, a buyer is going to pick the one that appears to be a better bargain for them. And this other one that affects a lot of sellers in communities where there's a lot of new construction. If your house is more than, 3, maybe 4 years old, you will never get as much money as a new construction house does. The reality is that if a buyer has a choice within $20,000 to $25,000 of a list price for a house, they're generally going to pick the new construction. Unless your house has something, pretty amazing or unique, like maybe a really fabulous in-ground pool, or it's on 2 acres versus, the postage stamp lots that the new ones are on. In general, the buyer is going to up their budget a bit and grab that new construction house. Unfortunately, in communities where there's a lot of new construction, it usually impacts listing prices on houses about $30,000 to $50,000. It's honestly not fair. It's not always a good thing, but that is the reality in communities that have a lot of new construction going on. Again, for a buyer, that new construction, brand new everything, customized to their taste, again, they're going to pay a little extra, certainly not as much as they would pay you for your house. Now, I'm not saying that the market is correct about any of this. I am not saying that you're crazy and wrong because you priced your house at $400,000 versus $350,000. But a lot of times that extra $50,000 can come from an emotional attachment to your house versus something that you can quantify on a piece of paper, point to it, and demonstrate why it's worth $50,000. So the only real way to know whether or not that emotion is kind of affecting the price versus it's actually a market pressure is to look at houses that are priced the same as yours, not necessarily comparable, and do an honest assessment of location, condition, any new construction pressures, or anything else that you think is valuable about your house that can be found in or better versions of in other houses. Your price needs to make sense to them, and from a buyer perspective, if your house doesn't have the same things that the other houses in the price range have, that means that you have priced too high. If you have something about your house that's truly unique and you think that it'll kind of jump that gap from $350,000 to $400,000 or wherever it is that you're working in your market, you need to have an agent that is willing and capable of putting that unique feature kind of front and center and really using that in your marketing. Good marketing and true uniqueness can absolutely make up for a big, tens of thousands of dollar gaps in list prices, but it's not going to matter if buyers don't actually know about it. If you think you're overpriced, have your agent print out those houses that you're competing directly with in that price range. Not comps, but price range. Go through them, with an honest eye, with the idea that you are a buyer versus a seller in this transaction, and see if the value exists for your home. If that extra value is there, again, make sure that the agent is highlighting that in their marketing and all the different, photos and everything that goes along with it. If it's not there, then you need to drop your price. You don't necessarily have to do all $50,000 at once, but you're overpriced. You're not going to sell your home. Buyers are not stupid. They are going to be able to do value judgments on their own, and they don't have an emotional attachment to your house. So again, unless it's something truly unique, your best bet if you actually want to sell your house is to do a price drop down to where the other homes that are similar to yours actually are. What do you guys think about this? Do you agree the idea that, once you come up with a price based on these comps and you're sitting around a little while, maybe you should look at what else is out there that other buyers can buy? Again, that how do you handle that connection between emotional attachment to a house or a price and the reality of the market? If you are thinking of buying or selling in this market and you do kind of have questions like these, like how do I make sure something's going to be right, please call or text me anytime, 219-765-2062. If it's easier, you can always email me at hsbyerica@gmail.com. Also, check out my website at HomeSalesByErica.com. I have a full seller's guide on there, buyer's guide as well. You can certainly search for new properties. I have other videos here, and there's also a chat link so you can contact me directly. If it is your first time here, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you have a seller friend that is kind of figuring out where they're going to be in the market, please share this video with them. Also, I do market updates for my area every Tuesday and do buyer and seller videos on every Thursday. So please ring that bell so you can be notified when I post new videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you Tuesday.